Welcome to the Genius Alchemist podcast. I'm your host, Sarah McBride, and in today's episode, I just will be discussing authentic leadership, what that means, and what that means especially in conscious and spiritual communities. And the reason I've decided to talk about this today is because I'm seeing a lot of conscious leaders in the industry, so to speak, who are talking about leadership and what it means. And something that I've come across from more than one person is where they are discussing other leaders and how other leaders are leading in their particular industry, what that looks like. And for me, it posed a question in my mind around how we all differ, how we all do things, and how everybody, to some degree, thinks that their way is the only way. And even me now, so as I do this broadcast, what am I feeling about my way? I obviously think that the way I do things is the right way, otherwise I wouldn't be doing it. But then there's discernment in that. So, for example, when I talk about my way is looking for the way that suits somebody else, rather than being directive, dictatorial. So for me, it's about understanding what particular people need, and we only do that by understanding the person, understanding their moral compass, their values, what's important to them, the direction in which they're going in, and really getting to know them on a deep soul level. And then once you do that, you can understand what it is that they need to move forward. Now that could be in life, it could be in business. So for example, when I work with someone to grow their business, say, it's not just about business tools, strategy and structures. There's a lot of inner work, there's a lot of energetics, there's a lot of working on belief systems. And I will start with that, then move to strategy, then move to some level of structure. And it's different for each person because some people just need a few internal tweaks, the energy shifts, and then you give them a plan and they run with the plan and the plan works. But if you give 10 people the same plan, you're going to get different results based on the level of inner work, the level of consciousness that they're at, the level of belief systems, the level of money wounds. So everyone will have different levels of energetics to start with. So for me, it's finding out where someone is and then working with them and creating the shift. Now, something I've come across quite recently is two various camps. And I know I've spoken about this before, where you've got a lot of people pushing energetics alone, and we can become this attractor through our energetics, which is partially true, but we still have to make ourselves visible on some level. We still have to work with people, put our work out there, otherwise being an attractor alone won't work. But then there's the other people that just push strategy, action, consistency, strategy, action, consistency. And they don't even take into consideration that the person may have a huge energetic block which stops them from reaching the goal from the strategy that you've set out. So then what I've witnessed is other leaders, shall we say, who generally mock other people in the way that they do things and say that their way is the only way. And it is that attitude of my way or the highway. Follow me in the way that I do it, or we won't work together. And some of these leaders consider themselves spiritual or conscious leaders. Now, they may be spiritual because anyone can be spiritual, because we are a spirit inhabiting a body. That means we're spiritual by nature. But conscious is something different. To be conscious, you need to have a level of self-awareness. And that level of self-awareness has to be rooted in being open-minded and able to expand your consciousness. So when you are dictatorial by nature in your leadership style, you're automatically closed off to what other people may have an idea about, may be able to advise you on. And when you're closed off, your consciousness by nature is lessened. So if we want to call ourselves a conscious leader, which some people do, then how can we truly believe that there's only one way of doing things and then that is our way? Because that's not being open-minded. That's not being open-minded to another way of solving the problem, another solution, another perspective. It's a single perspective. And that single perspective is not coming from a expanded consciousness and an expansive mindset. So this is why, for me, authentic leadership is operating with integrity. It's being self-aware enough to know that there may be another way of doing things and it may not be the way that we know. It's not laughing at someone else because you think that you've nailed the process and they haven't. And this is what I've witnessed lately, which was the inspiration for this particular podcast, of a particular soulful business leader, in their words, who actually stated it's laughable. Other people who think they're leaders, it's laughable. And why is it laughable? Because they don't embody the specific energetics that this person embodies. So for me, is that authentic leadership? No. That's dictatorial. That's actually closed off. Because whether you use astrology, whether you use numerology, whether you're intuitive, whether you're not, whether you're trained in a particular modality or not, that does not mean that your way is the only way of doing things. And in essence, to be considered a conscious leader, isn't this about bringing together global consciousness and transformation for all? We live in a world which faces various challenges. Spiritual and conscious leaders should recognise the need for a global shift in consciousness. So that means collaboration on a global scale is crucial for facilitating transformational change and creating a more compassionate world. That's coming together. It's not being divisive. Because as soon as you create division for your way in comparison to someone else's way, then the bigger purpose, the bigger goal's already been lost. So this reminds me of how, as conscious leaders, being authentic in that, we need to focus on the interconnectedness of all beings, and the unity of humanity as a whole. So this collaboration reflects this interconnected view. And that's how we foster a sense of oneness and also shared purpose. So together we can come together and we can address larger societal issues. Whereas alone, we're not as able to do so. We can learn from others. We can all bring our different viewpoints together and then collectively find innovative solutions. So this is asking yourself how you perceive leadership. If you are a leader and you call yourself a conscious leader or a spiritual leader, what is your message? And is your message truly aligned and authentic? Because ultimately, this is about service to others. This is about allowing ourselves to serve more effectively by coming together with our resources, our skills and talents for the greater good. We should be emphasising this co-creation. And if I find one way that works better, then I'm going to share that. But I'm going to share it in a collaborative way, as a viewpoint, as a belief, rather than push it as this is the truth and this is the only way. Otherwise, that limits leadership succession. Because if, as an industry leader, if we operate from ego, and this is the only way and this is the truth, it can disempower others. And then also, imagine that person comes out with a way that they think, this is my way of doing things, I'm rising, I'm growing, I'm helping other people, and I work in this way and this is how I operate. And then someone else puts them down, someone else mocks them, that their way is the only way. Then what happens? You become disempowered. It limits your growth. Some people may fear of stepping up then, and they may have a specific purpose, a specific frequency, a message to share, but it gets cut off because someone else believes that their way is the only way, and that numerology or astrology is the only way that you can get to where you need to get to in your soul's purpose. So what does that do? It fosters this culture of fear. And this is the old way, this is old paradigm. Using bully tactics to get the outcome that you want. And what else does that do? That stifles innovation and progress. So any leader who mocks others and operates from ego can then create a culture where new ideas and innovative thinking just become suppressed. Because what that can do is stifle someone's creativity, suppress the voice, suppress their truth. So what do you perceive as authentic leadership? To me, the ability to demonstrate empathy. You can have a passion for your mission. You can be deeply committed to your mission and have purpose without pulling someone else down. Now, again, this is where discernment comes in, because if someone else is using bullying tactics, if someone else is disempowering someone, then speak up, speak your truth, be a true leader, empower people. But just because someone uses a different way, does that actually mean it's true? That what you believe is true and what they believe isn't, because it's different from yours? Because we have different perspectives, and that's the beauty of humanity. We have our own beliefs, we have our own programs that everything gets filtered through. So authenticity, authentic leadership, being true to yourself, true to your values, being consistent in your behaviour, and just being yourself, not presenting a facade, not putting yourself in a position of supremacy. Because ultimately that's a facade, because there's not a single human on this planet that's better than another one. So if you position yourself as that because you want to position yourself as an authority in your industry, and then through trying to demonstrate that you're an authority, you have to pull someone else down, that's not being authentic. So authentic leadership goes hand in hand with integrity, expression of truth, empowering others. And this industry right now needs more of that. Because ultimately, this divisive energy that's going on right now is not serving anyone. It's not serving the planet in any way whatsoever. So if you're in this industry and you're a leader, or you have the desire to be an authority and a leader through your wisdom, your knowledge, the work that you're putting out there, ask yourself that question. How can I remain true to myself without disempowering another? Remaining in a space of integrity, operating from truth and integrity. And always focused on the bigger mission, which is always about collaboration. The mission's never about you on your own, because the world can't get better from you on your own. Unless you on your own are demonstrating a certain particular set of behaviours and values, and then other people are inspired by that. But again, that's interconnectedness, that's collectively. So ask yourself the question, how can I remain authentic as a leader? And thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in to the Genius Alchemist podcast. If this episode has ignited your curiosity or inspired you in some way, then I encourage you to subscribe and share with friends. For those that want to stay in the loop and be the first to know about future episodes, special offers and free resources, make sure to check out the link in the show notes. By joining my mailing list or reaching out through that link, you'll have exclusive access to all the latest updates and ways that you can connect with me. I look forward to sharing more inspiring stories with you all in future episodes.